Hi, I'm Andrea.
I'm Claudia.
And we're the Judgy Crime Girls.
Hello and welcome.
Hello.
How's it going?
Okay, it's going good. It's warming up outside, thank God.
I saw in my Facebook memory a couple days ago, Alex and I came back from Mexico on that day 3 years ago, and we had, I think, like 5 inches of snow, and we had to drive from Indy back home in the middle of the night. That was awful. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I remember that.
And it was kind of like a freak snowstorm.
Yes.
Because the next day it was all melted again. Like it was gone. So weird.
That's Indiana for you, though.
Yeah.
I swear. You have cookies.
We have cookies. They're just the right size. Snack size.
Tiny.
I mean, they're good maybe for a kid's lunchbox or something because there are only about 5 of them in there. They're from Costco. They're just snack size.
You know, I've been very good about snacking throughout the day. Because, you know, it's almost summer and I'm just trying to whatever. But, man, when I am doing research and I'm typing, I will tell you, the food just keeps coming.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how'd that get here? I don't remember going into the kitchen.
It's like I have no remorse for snacking, no guilt.
Nope.
It's just, I think if I'm going to work on this case, I deserve like a whole thing of goldfish or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If not 2.
I like it. Do you have a stupid law?
I do have a stupid law. Today's case, we're going to be in Germany, and Germany actually has a lot of stupid laws and rules, more like rules that are not necessarily law, but whatever. So in Germany, you cannot keep an urn at home. They have a law of cemetery compulsion, so demanding that all mortal remains are deposited in the designed space. That is either a cemetery or as part of an official burial at sea. So this law was originally conceived for hygienic reasons, and therefore it is forbidden to keep urns at home.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's a little weird anyway.
Yeah.
That people do that. And I even have like family members that have done that. But it makes me a little uneasy to see the box and know what's in it. I don't know. For some, it's comforting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's, you know, so-and-so. But for me, I'm like, that's so-and-so. And I cannot.
Well, I never had that experience, so honestly, I couldn't tell you how I would feel. Right now, I feel like I wouldn't care. Maybe I would like to have them home with me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Also, just the process of cremation really freaks me out. I'm one of these people, you know, I just want to become a tree or stick me in the body farm.
So, yeah, now in Germany, they do have, I don't know what to call it in English, but it's kind of like a little forest. And you pick out a tree and they put like a plaque on the tree with, I don't know, your mom, your dad, your whoever has passed away. And that's like their tree.
And it's so much prettier. And it's just more natural.
Yes.
I think. Let me curl up in a fetal position and just put me in the ground.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I cannot be eaten up by bugs and stuff. Please burn me. And burn me because I watch Supernatural and I don't want to stick around.
For what?
Well, as a ghost, I don't want to be around. Like maybe I'm hanging on to something. So I need to be burned.
I mean, it would be kind of cool to be a ghost. If I had powers and if I could screw with people eternally, I would. If given the choice.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
I just want to be at peace. Just leave me be.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so you think like if they burn you versus put you in the ground, like you would still live on if you weren't burned?
Well, I've learned from Sam and Dean. And they burn the bones, and then the ghost goes away.
And
I don't know if that's true in real life, but if those two hotties do it, it's got to be true. It's got to come from somewhere.
I mean, they are cute.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our addiction to Supernatural. But only the season 1. Because it just gets really murky after that.
I love it. I'm again on season 11, episode 5.
Well, it just got very far-fetched. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Until I didn't.
But who cares? It's Sam and Dean.
You're like, it's okay. I'll follow along with anything you believe.
Yeah. I mean, although Castiel is not bad.
It's always about the hotties.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, take me to Germany.
This case, I don't even know how to describe it. It is so bizarre, so weird, so strange, and so sad. And aside from the Lars Mittank case where he ran out of the airport, he was on vacation and disappeared, never to be seen again. This one I'm going to tell you about today is probably the most mysterious case, bizarre case I have ever talked about.
Oh, wow.
And this is about Frauke Liebs. So it's June 2006, and Germany is hosting the World Cup with millions of people out and about watching the games. On June 20th, Frauke Liebs, 21 years old, disappeared without a trace after walking home from an Irish pub in downtown Paderborn. What's so strange about this is that Frauke still sent mysterious text messages and called every day for a week before they abruptly stopped. Her heavily decomposed body was found a few months later with almost no leads as to what happened to Frauke.
That is devastating.
Very much. And I am going to read the phone calls, the transcript of the calls and text messages. So Frauke Liebs was born on February 21st, 1985. Her mom is a principal at a high school and her dad is a dentist. She has one brother and one sister. And Frauke knew early in life that she wanted to be a nurse and help people. Friends and family said she had a helper syndrome. When she was 16, she fell in love and she got together with her boyfriend Christos, and they were together for 4 years. She originally went to school to become an educator, but she had a hard time finding a job, so she decided to move to Paderborn to start nursing school. Her now ex-boyfriend Christos already lived in Paderborn and went to college there, and she didn't feel like living in the dorms, so they decided for her to move in with him. They haven't been together for about a year, and her mom wasn't sure if moving in with the ex was a good idea, but those two were still really, really good friends, and they were really good friends before they were a couple. And Frauke was beautiful. She had light brown hair, brown eyes, and she was really, really friendly, and she had no problems meeting people in the new city. She was super outgoing. She liked to hang out with her friends, and she liked to party a little bit. So June 20th, 2006 was a very nice and warm day in Germany, but that day turned out to be a nightmare for Frauke's family and friends. The day she disappeared started out really good. Her mom came into town to visit her, to spend the day with her, and they just had a really, really good day. So in the evening, they decided to go out to dinner, and Frauke's ex-boyfriend, now roommate Christos, who actually went by Chris, decided to join them for dinner. Chris already had a new girlfriend, and Frauke was still single, although she was talking to a guy she had recently met. So while they're at dinner still, Frauke gets a text message from her friend Isabella from nursing school that they were at the Irish pub watching the soccer game and for Frauke to come and join them. It was around 9 o'clock in the evening, and Chris didn't feel like going to the pub. He wanted to go home and talk to his girlfriend on the phone, and Frauke wasn't ready to go home, so she decided to join her friends at the Irish pub. Chris and her mom dropped her off in front of the pub and left. Now, Germany was hosting the World Cup in 2006, and Germany had played earlier that day, and they won, so the downtown area was super busy. The game everyone was watching that evening at the Irish pub was between England and Sweden, and the pub, of course, was packed. And before she went inside, Chris asked if he could borrow the house key. He forgot his key at home, so Frauke let him borrow her keys, and he promised to stay up until she got home so he could let her in. When they all said their goodbyes, they didn't know that that would be the last time they would ever see Frauke alive again. Frauke sat at the table with her friends, but she wasn't really watching the game. She was on her cell phone texting with a guy named Niels, who was the guy she had recently met. Niels was working that night, but they texted so much that Frauke's cell phone died.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not sure what kind of job Niels did, but he was able to text all evening. So now, fortunately, her phone was the it phone to have at the time, meaning everyone else had pretty much the same phone, including her friend Isabella, who let her borrow her battery. Do you remember back in the day you could just take the back off, take the battery out, take your SIM card out?
Oh, yeah.
And I could hand you my battery. You would put it in.
Yeah.
And in case anybody is wondering what kind of phone she had, it was the Nokia 6230. Now, during the game, Frauke mentioned that she was pretty tired. She was yawning a lot, and she said she wanted to go home after the game. Another reason she wanted to get home is because she didn't want her roommate, Chris, to stay up too late, because everybody had to work the next day. This was a Tuesday. So around 11 p.m., Frauke gives her friend the phone battery back and leaves. Her friend from school, Isabella, walked her out of the pub, and they hugged, and they said they would see each other the next day at school. Now, Frauke only had less than about €5 in her wallet, which meant that she had to walk home. She didn't have enough money for a cab or anything. But it's really no big deal. It's only about a mile away. So the pub is actually not straight up in the downtown area. It's a little bit on the outside of downtown.
Was it a pretty safe area?
Where they were, yes.
Okay.
So now, again, remember, it's the World Cup, and there are like hundreds and thousands of people out and about on the streets, probably drunk. But somewhere on her 15-minute walk home, she disappeared. Let me tell you real quick, there are actually several different ways she could have walked home. We just don't know which way she went, but the easiest and safest would have been through downtown, which was full of people, very well lit, but it was also a little bit out of her way by probably maybe about 10 minutes.
Ooh.
And she wanted to get home quickly. She was tired. So she may have gone through a couple of densely populated streets to cross over a bridge and railroad tracks. And that path home is not very well lit. And it was a residential area, so there were probably not a whole lot of people out in that area. But those are the two most likely ways she could have gone. And this is what made it so hard for investigators, because they just didn't know which way she went home and where she disappeared. Like, no one had seen her at all. So meanwhile, Chris is at home in his bedroom watching TV. He's not super worried that she's not home yet. He thinks she's having a great time at the pub. She likes to party a little bit. No big deal. He usually doesn't go to bed early anyway, but just in case he fell asleep, he left the bedroom door open so that he could hear her ring the doorbell. At 12:49 a.m., he gets a text from her. "Coming later. The game was fun. Not against England. Smiley face. Love you lots. See you later.
That was almost 2 hours after she left.
Yes. Also, now her phone battery was dead. So how did she send those texts? Either the person she was with let her charge her phone, or her SIM card was put in another phone maybe altogether. We just don't know. Maybe she wrote that text earlier and never sent it and then sent it later. But he did try to call her and her phone went to voicemail.
Right after
immediately.
He got the text?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the police and the family and Chris are very, very sure that the message really did come from her. The text sounded like Frauke, especially the reference to not against England. Her and Chris had joked earlier that they were hoping that Germany didn't have to play against England. So it was an inside joke between the two of them. And whoever had her, kidnapped her, wouldn't know that. And at the time, it sounded like she obviously didn't think that she was in any kind of danger. So Chris went to sleep. The next morning, her friend Isabella is waiting for her at school, and that's really unlike Frauke not to show up. So around 9 a.m., she called Chris, who was still sleeping. He checked Frauke's room, and she wasn't there. Her bed was still made. It hadn't been slept in. And he knew something was wrong because she wouldn't have stayed out all night without letting him know. He called Frauke's mom, Ingrid, and he also checked all the hospitals in the area, thinking maybe something happened to her along the way, an accident, but nothing. Ingrid went to the police right away to report Frauke missing, but the police didn't really take her seriously right away. Frauke was an adult after all, and she had every right to be anywhere she wanted to without telling anyone. She was an adult. So the family and friends took matters into their own hands, and they met at the school and printed out thousands of flyers. They wanted to put them up in the downtown area while there were still a lot of people there and maybe Frauke be fresh in their memory. They didn't want to wait very long, which was very smart. So now it's Thursday, June 22nd. Frauke's been missing for 2 days. Chris is at his dad's house when his phone rings at 10:25 p.m. Hello, Christos. I just wanted to say that I'm fine and I'm coming back home soon. Let Mom and Dad and the others know. And then nothing.
That was her voice?
Yes. But he's like, Christos? She never calls me that. She only calls me Christos by his full first name when she was mad at him, which hasn't happened a whole lot of times since they've known each other. But he said she sounded like she was drugged and reading a text.
Well, she probably said Christos as a clue.
Maybe. So when she didn't come home after that phone call, the police finally started investigating. Maybe she was being held hostage somewhere. Throughout the next few days, her phone pinged at all kinds of different locations around Paderborn. So on Friday, June 23rd at 11:04 p.m., it was a text message to Chris. I'm coming home today. I'm in Paderborn. Love you. Chris immediately called Frauke's mom, Ingrid. Frauke's brother, Frank, got an automated text message that her phone was reachable again. So I don't know if you remember when your phone was off, it would tell people. It's kind of like now we have the do not disturb on our phone, but when you turn your phone back on, it would tell me that you're reachable again. So her brother calls her right away, 2 minutes later at 11:06 p.m., and she answered. And he said, Frauke, what are you doing? When are you coming home? And she said, I'm coming home today, not too late. I'm in Paderborn. Please don't ask. I'm coming home. He asked, where are you? And she said, I can't tell you. And that was it. The phone was hung up. Now, her brother said at that time she sounded normal during this call. Her speech wasn't slurred. She sounded clear. So, of course, now the police are not sure anymore if she's been kidnapped and held against her will somewhere because she's calling and texting every day, at least once. Now it's Saturday, June 24th, 2:23 p.m. a call to Chris. I'm not coming back too late. I come home this evening. Are you hurt? No, I'm in Paderborn. I'm in Paderborn. I'm in Paderborn.
Hi there. Do you love stories that start out ordinary, but with the turn of a universe become unforgettable, life-changing moments? So do I. I'm Ruru Sig, and I'm inviting you to the Story Chaser podcast. Join the adventure, and I promise that you will laugh, cry, and feel inspired when you listen to my narrative essays. Click the link in the notes and listen to the Story Chaser podcast, where great stories are told well.
How many days has it been now?
4.
Okay.
This call is a little bit different since this is the only one that came in the afternoon. All the other calls were made late in the evening. Now it's Sunday, June 25th, 10:28 p.m. A call to Chris. I'm coming home today. Are you in danger? No. Why didn't you come home yesterday? I can't explain that to you. Where are you? I'll explain when I get home. And then nothing. And no text or call on Monday. So now it's Tuesday, June 27th, 11:24 p.m. A call to Chris while his sister is there. Her parents had just left after waiting for a call all day and all evening. And this call lasted almost 5 minutes.
Did they record it?
No.
Oh.
She says, "Hi, Chrissy, I'm fine. Where are you? I can't tell you. Come home." "No, I can't." "But why not?" "I can't tell you." "Are you held against your will?" "Yes." "No, no." And the yes was a lot quieter, and then a quick no, no, no.
Okay.
"Are you afraid?" "No." "Who's with you?" "I can't tell you." "Are you tired?" "Yes, very tired." "Do you know that the police is looking for you?" "Yes, I know." "How do you know that?" "Well, I've been gone for almost a week." "But why have you been gone?" "You know that, Chris." "No." "Did you meet another guy?" "You know that I wouldn't stay away for a week for another guy. You know me." "Karen is here with me. We're all worried about you. Are Mom and Dad also there?" "No, they were here." "Tell them that I love them a lot." "When are you coming back?" "I don't know." "Why didn't you come, even though you said you'd come home today?" "I'll explain later." "Should I come pick you up?" "No, that isn't possible." "Can we meet somewhere?" "No, that isn't possible." "Where are you?" "Mama." "Where are you?" "Oh, where are you?" "Mama." "Where are you?" "Mama." "When are you going to get in touch?" "I don't know yet." "Get in touch at least once a day." "I did that all the other days." "I was really sad that you didn't get in touch yesterday." "Yes, I know that you've been very sad. Please give Karen the phone." So her sister Karen takes the phone. And before Karen could even say anything, Frauke says, "Please don't ask too many questions." And her sister asked, "Are you afraid to come home?" "No." "Well, we'll leave the apartment, whatever it is. Nobody will ask you what happened. Just come back." "That's not possible. I'm still alive." "Are you with one or more persons?" "Please don't ask. I would like to be there with you. I would like to be home." Chris takes back the phone. "Get in touch at least once a day." "Yes, I will. Ciao. Talk to you soon." Karen claims that Frauke sounded like she was in trance, that her voice was slurred, and that she believes Frauke was also crying. And this was the last time anybody heard from her again. And it almost to me sounded like a goodbye, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew this was her last time, her last call. And what made me so sad is when she said, "Tell Mom and Dad I love them and I'm still alive."
She said, "I'm still alive," after they asked if she could come home.
Yeah.
So, like, don't ask me too many questions. Like, I cannot answer them.
Yes. And that's what she told her sister straight away. Don't ask too many questions. So all summer long, they kept looking for Frauke and nothing. No leads. Absolutely nothing. And then a gruesome discovery. On October 4th, almost 4 months after Frauke went missing, a hunter found a body in the wooded area approximately 20 kilometers away from the pub Frauke went missing from. The body had been there for so long that it was almost a skeleton. The police were able to make an identification. It was Frauke still wearing the same outfit she had on the night she went missing, which was a red shirt, blue jeans, and white sneakers. And unfortunately, due to the state of decomposition, a cause of death could not be determined. There were no bullet marks, no blunt force trauma, no indication of strangulation, nothing. Likewise, there wasn't evidence like DNA recovered from her body, but it was believed she was killed at a different location and then dumped in the forest. Her purse, her cell phone, her wallet would never be recovered. They were gone. Investigators think that she had been abducted shortly after leaving the bar, and she was held captive in the nearby town of Nieheim because all the phone calls pinged from around that area. The theory was that her captors allowed her to make those calls from different areas of Paderborn in order maybe to throw the police off their location. And it's unclear if they had ever planned to let her go or if it was just the way to confuse the police. A motive for the murder was never determined. After a few years, thousands of tips investigated and hundreds of people interviewed. Frauke's case went cold. So in 2017, a couple only identified as Wilfried W. and Angelika B. were arrested for abducting, torturing, and ultimately killing a young woman they had met through an ad in the newspaper. After being caught for one of the murders, Angelika would confess to the police that there were many more victims, including another young woman they had abducted, killed, burned, and scattered her ashes. This couple would take out newspaper ads all across Germany to lure women and to torture them. The victims were chained up, beaten, starved, and turned into slaves and then murdered. And the couple, they are currently serving only 11 and 13 years for the murder of 2 women. But the actual number of women they killed is unknown. 13 and 11 years.
How is that even possible?
In Germany, it is possible. It's unbelievable.
It's disgusting.
So at one point, investigators thought maybe Frauke could have been another one of their victims. The home where they would keep their victims was relatively close to Paderborn, where Frauke lived. However, there hasn't been any evidence discovered that would positively connect the killer couple with Frauke's abduction and murder. And to this day, no one has been charged for her death, and we don't know what happened to her during those days. She stayed in touch. The biggest problem, I think, here is the absolute lack of witnesses. Like, that nobody has seen her at all, that nobody could remember her.
Despite all of those flyers being put up immediately.
Right.
Pretty much.
Now, it is also the World Cup. There are millions of people from all over the world flooding in. It almost could have been anybody, even from a different country.
But I don't think someone from a different country, like somebody just in from out of town, would have the foresight to kidnap someone and then strategically move them around.
Right.
Know the area. Doesn't seem feasible.
Exactly. So there are a couple more things I'd like to say. And in case you're wondering why she only called Chris and not her family per se, her and Chris were super duper close. It was said that her mom never had her phone around. She never had her phone on her, and her dad's phone was usually off. They were a little bit older at the time, and not that cell phones were new back then in 2006, but they were kind of new, like a thing. And that is why maybe she only called Chris. So, of course, we wouldn't be the Judgy Crime Girls if I didn't have my 2 cents to put in. I think whoever did this was local. And it was more than one guy that kidnapped her. And she probably knew at least one of them somehow. I think that because her first text to Chris was just so normal, like she didn't think she was in danger. Maybe she overheard her kidnappers talking about maybe how to get rid of her. And she's trying to save her own life and tells them, if you let me call, they won't come looking for you. And they wait till nighttime, put her in the car and drive her all over town because, like I said, her phone pinged from different locations. I also think that somewhere in her vague, mysterious replies was a message, or a hint of some sort, and we just missed it. We just can't figure it out. Like how she said, I'm in Paderborn 3 times, or how she answered a direct question with mama 3 times. Did that mean that maybe her mom would have an idea where she might be? I don't know.
Yeah, because the reply didn't make sense in the context of the conversation.
Correct.
But it's almost like it was just a cry for help. When you are scared to death, you do want your mom.
Right.
And so that's how I took it. But maybe there was something else to it.
Maybe somewhere along the way, she ran into a group of guys. Maybe she knew one of them and they were like, come on, let's have a drink. Maybe her drink was spiked and somebody didn't think she would recognize them. And she said, oh, I know you. I wish we would know. And I wonder, whoever took her, whoever murdered her, what are you doing today? How can you live on? Go on. Are you married? Do you have kids? Are you following the news? Now, her case hasn't been in the news for a while. However, back in 2022, I guess they did arrest 2 brothers, maybe in connection of her kidnapping and murder. They recovered different cell phones and stuff like that from their house, but they later were ruled out. I got a little excited when I read an update, but it was nothing.
So no hope on DNA from her clothing, nothing like that?
Nothing.
Wow. Ugh, that's so sad.
Absolutely nothing, yeah.
Man, that is some sort of psychological torture to allow your victim to call their family.
Mm-hmm. It's torture for everyone around, especially the victim, but...
It's almost like they were giving her hope.
Yes.
If she played their game, played along, she could get to come home because that's what she kept repeating was, I'm coming home today or I'm coming home tomorrow. So if she did X, Y, and Z, were they able to tell if she was sexually assaulted? Probably not. Okay. Well, I'm assuming that was the motive or whatever.
Yeah. And where did this guy see her? Did he already see her at the pub? Did he follow her? Did he ran into her somewhere along the way? I mean, there were a few hundred people probably in that pub.
I just don't think this was random. There was a plan in place to kidnap her. A really good one, actually. They had her moving around. They had a plan.
Yeah, it's just beyond me why they would keep her for a week. Let her call unless she was really trying to save her own life. If you let me call, they're not going to come looking for us or for you or for me. Hoping maybe that she could get a message across.
By the last phone call, I was getting a little bit frustrated. Because he was asking the same exact questions over and over. You already know she can't answer that.
Yeah.
Why weren't you prepared to think that a little bit further through? Instead of asking her a question that she has to articulate outside of yes or no. Are you in the northeast quadrant? And then she could answer yes or no.
But maybe not. Maybe her phone was on speaker.
I'm just saying that's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, sure.
She clearly cannot answer other than yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have done. It breaks my heart. The whole thing is awful. And who knows, even if they would have done that, if they could have found her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ugh, it was terrible. This is absolutely heartbreaking.
It really was. And as you could tell, our voices were breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was very emotional. I just kept thinking this could have been my daughter, and just how she repeated mama.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that got me all choked up for sure.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. So sad. Well, you definitely have outdone yourself on our last public episode.
Yes, guys, you heard this right.
That's a mic drop for you.
We would like to thank you guys who stuck with us the last 3 years, every week, every other week, and listen to us. We cannot tell you how thankful we are and how much we appreciate you. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, every step of the way, every insane case that we've shared, we couldn't have done it without you guys and your support, and really appreciate just everything along the way.
Yes, so much. So thank you.
Thank you. And I guess that's a wrap for this one. So great case. I'm so happy that we're sharing it.
I am happy to be sharing this too, and want to say, if you have any information, anybody out there about Frauke's disappearance, you can call the Kriminalpolizei Bielefeld. Number is 490525450. And I wanted my last case to be with what I started with, just unsolved and German.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. Wow.
Well, that was a great case.
Good
job, Claudia.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Hey, you guys, take care out there.
Stay sassy.
Stay judgy. Farewell.
Farewell, Judgy Crime Girls. We love you so much. Bye.
Bye.